Hello everyone, today we'll be going over Linkstrider build guide again, but hopefully this one won't be outdated like the others. Who am I? I'm someone who's been playing Linkstrider since it ever came out. Been playing the support playstyles pretty basically since release of Deepwoken. Basically old player, helped a lot of people mastering the style. First let's talk about what's good or bad for a Linkstrider build, starting with attunements. So, attunements, we have, of course, six attunements in the game. We have Flame Charm, Frost Jaw, Thundercall, Gale Breath, Iron Sing, and Shadowcast. Starting with Shadowcast, we have a whole tier list here. We're going to put Shadowcast in D tier. Now, a good Linkstrider usually has a lot of utility and isn't too PvP focused. The problem with Shadowcast is it's way too PvP focused for it to get at value, and you would need to go Flame Charm Shadowcast Wraith Path for it to actually get some sort of value. Other than that, Shadowcast is pretty bad for support as the other oaths offer way more. Second up, we have Iron Sing. This is also going to go in D tier because Iron Sing only really is good if you get. Iron Sing's only good if you have a bunch of it for its armor steel talents, which sure, cool, it could be used for support, but then wouldn't just making a PvP build with Iron Sting just be better at that point? You know, investing quite a bit. Like I said, Linkstrider is supposed to have a lot of utility and support tools, and investing a lot into Iron Sting or Shadowcast, not really worth it, because you're investing so many points into utility that your PvP side is going to be kind of low, so I wouldn't really bother getting Iron Sting or Shadowcast. Iron Sting does have one good thing, and that is for Rampart, and that's kind of it. It is only one Iron Sting for Rampart, and it's a very versatile mantra, and I do recommend it for most Linkstrider builds. Next, let's talk about Gale Breath. Gale Breath, I'm going to put in B tier, because, you know, very good mobility, but mainly we use it for its passives, for Wind Step, Air Pressure, and some Aero Gliding, sometimes even Spectre, depending on the build. But really, Gale Breath is really good for the passives, and you can do some unique combos. For example, with Linkstrider, you could do every time before you do Sustain, you could use Wind Step, makes it a little safer to use it, and little things like that. It's not really high up, but I would give it in a solid B tier. Next, we'll talk about Thundercall. Similar situation with Gale Breath, only a couple of things really make it good, mainly consisting of Spark Swap, Grand Skewer, and Static Clone. All these are really good. Grand Skewer for throwing enemies away, and you don't really need to do damage if you're just chucking them across the map. Static Clone's really good for mobility, iframes, and climbing up walls. It's really nice for getting away. And then finally, we have Spark Swap, which, again, really good control, can Spark Swap teammates out, and you can do some devastating combos. For example, you could do Rampart, Campfire, Spark Swap your teammate out. Really helpful. Just stuff, little things like that. It's really good for control, and it does scale off your health. So, and usually as Linkstrider, you're gonna have a lot of passive regen. So being low on health isn't gonna be too often. So most of the time, your Spark Swap will be really good. Next, we'll talk about Frostdraw. Frostdraw, I would just put it in a solid C tier, either C or B. Most, preferably C though, because I only personally use Frostjaw only for ice daggers because they're a really quick and easy stun. And because of this, I would put it in C tier. It also can proc a lot of talents, such as, I forgot some of the names. I know there's one that prevents the enemy from rolling, which is really annoying, and ice daggers does proc that. So which is why I would put Frostjaw in C tier. For support anyways, just keep in mind, this is for Linkstrider after all. Finally, Flame Charm. I'd put this in A tier. I don't, because this is really good for a PvP Linkstrider build or going pure support. Doesn't matter. It's just really versatile because of reversal Flame Leap for drinking potions safer. Then you have just its passive Flame Healing, which you can proc with Flame Wisp. It's just really good in general. It's not required at all, but it's just definitely really good and something to consider when playing support if you're into more of a PvP style. Talking about stats, we have Intelligence, mainly just for potions and bombs. Potions are really good for support because you can heal with potions. You can do ether drain with potions. You can half an opponent's damage and mantra damage. You can have infinite ether. You can slow people down. You can cause insanity, somewhat countering no life king users. I did forget to mention that bombs actually do scale with int, and bombs deal true damage, so naturally you should be taking bombs. They also offer really good mobility, forgot to mention that. Then we have Charisma, obviously for all the Vow commands, mainly just for that. But you can also get things like Encore, Taunt, maybe Sing if you really want Sing. Sing is optional, but I would always go Taunt. Next we have Agility. The only real things with Agility are Conditional Runner for 25, or you can go 40 for Ghost. Another talent you could do is None Left Behind, which you basically teleport to any down players near you, which can be pretty good, but you could just use Return to revive down players. But this also means you can pick up enemy knocked players. Is it worth 100 agility? In my opinion, not really. I would rather just have, usually someone on your team is going to have Reaper Bell anyways, or you could just use Portals or Reaper Bell yourself. I don't know. I don't really think it's worth the investment, but you can get it if you want. It's not terrible. Then we have Willpower. So for most Linkstrider builds, you're not going to be having any Willpower, unless you're going Flame, of course. Then you would have Azure. You can also get Firmly Planted for just 25 Willpower and Fortitude. But this is why I recommend the Starduster, because this thing actually gives you the talent for free. So I usually run Starduster because I don't need to invest points into Willpower, because I personally don't use Flame for my build, because I prefer more utility. Then we have Strength. Strength kind of sucks for Linkstrider builds, apart from Pitcher and Carry Load, but if you're really concerned about carry load, you should just be using the Boon Pack Mule, which gives you another plus 50 carry load. And potions, I believe, are 0.25 carry load or 0.5. I'm not sure. Point is, Pack Mule is just helping you carry all your potions. And I mean, if you do want to invest the if you don't want to invest the 5 strength and agility, you could just get that Alchemist hat, and it'll give you the talent for free. If you don't want to invest the 5 strength, then you have Fortitude. You don't really need Fortitude apart from Conditional Runner, and if you want, also Exoskeleton. I highly suggest getting Conditional Runner in support builds, as you should be track star oriented, meaning you can actually run around. So Conditional Runner is really good for that regard. And Exos, just, I mean, most builds get Exo anyways, you might as well. Reinforced Armor, I don't really think is worth it. You should prioritize more in utility, which is why I just usually would stay at 40 Exo, or 40 Fortitude. Next we have weapons. Weapons for support are pretty standard. You either will go Hero Blade or no weapon. And if you go no weapon, you'd go light weapon. So we go Hero Blade. I mean, Hero Blade's for obvious reasons. You should be using attunements on a support build. You should be track star oriented, be very versatile, have a lot of utility. So you'll have points for a Hero Blade. If you don't, however, you can also go zero weapon, which is a bit harder, and progression will suck. If you do go into weapon, I would recommend Iron Kestis or any light weapon in general. This is because there's no pullout time. What this means is most support builds usually run potions with bombs. So because of this, we'll actually be using a light weapon sometimes, and because of this, we can pull out our bombs and potions a lot quicker. So meaning, if I were to run a potion build with a medium or heavy weapon, I first have to unequip my weapon, disarming it, and then I can throw it. With a light weapon, it's just immediate. There's just no pullout time. You know, I could just do it immediately. Which is why I either recommend Hero Blade if you want to go a little bit more PvP based, or you can go light weapon, or zero light weapon. Sorry. Next we have what bells are really good. We're gonna do another tier list. So for teleportation, this is pretty good for support build. Drown teleportation is pretty good. I haven't actually used it myself. I never got it. From what I've heard, it's pretty good. You could do things like Rampart all return and safely teleport everyone, or you could do like Ice Eruption, but like the big ring. I don't remember how you do it. And then all return, stuff like that. Pretty interesting. You can also jail people with teleportation. So if you know the timing correctly, you can try to spark swap. You could try to place your teleportation or spark swap someone, and then they'll be on your teleportation, and then they'll be flying away if you time it right. And but that is assuming they don't parry your spark swap, which you can parry spark swap if you didn't know, people. You can also put markers on your teammates with corrupted teleportation. which is pretty good. I don't know too much about the bell. I'll probably just leave it in A tier. I don't know exactly. I haven't used it myself. Dimensional travel, that's definitely, I would also put in A. I would either put it in A or S, to be honest. I'm gonna put it in high A though. And I'm gonna say this because it's basically the same with teleportation, but it's way faster because it's immediate. So you could do Rampart, all return, Kamui. And what happens is, your team gets to run away completely safe. And Rampart's actually a lot stronger now because you cannot climb it anymore. So the only way people will get to your Kamui is if they have mobility mantras. So dimensional travel becomes very powerful. So I would either put it in low S or high A. One of these two. Not really sure. We'll just leave it in A. Next we have Corrupted Sacred Field. This is also, I'm going to put in A tier. Because this needs to be corrupted, so because of your Linkstrider build will usually be very high track star, sometimes high damage. Basically, you need tons of mobility. So because you're constantly running around, you're going to be supporting your teammates, maybe killing people, picking off, whatever you do. But Corrupted Sacred Field will actually follow you, meaning when you run around supporting your teammates, you'll have this big giant field just running around with you. And the benefit of this is that not only are you giving yourself resistances, you're also buffing your other teammates. And the range of this is huge because, points are randomized and it's corrupted, so it has more points. So the range is going to be ginormous. So I'd probably give it in high A. I'd probably do this. I don't know, I haven't used teleportation enough, but I think this looks fine. Then we have Run It Back. Run It Back, I'd either give it a high B or low A. Let's go low A. Run It Back's really good with standard or corrupted. It doesn't matter too much. But what you can do with Run It Back is actually, if you don't want to use potions, you can use Run It Back. And when you sustain someone, you will actually not take damage during Run It Back. So what people will do is maybe they'll use Rampart, Run It Back, jump down, sustain, and heal people. Or you can use other tech, like right before your Run It Back ends, you can use Static Clone, and that will teleport you, but you'll be invisible with iframes so that people cannot camp your Run It Back. Another thing you can do is you can actually use a rhythm and Run It Back, and you can drink potions and Run It Back, meaning you can get health back during Run It Back and there's no way to really counter you. How you can really amplify this is if you had corrupted Run It Back, you could do 2 free sustains, 1 free health potion, and you can use rhythm very briefly and get info. That's why I'd probably put it maybe even above teleportation. I think maybe this, I feel like Run It Back is more going to give you more value. Like teleportation, you're not going to be spamming it. I feel like this makes more sense. Then we have Resurrection. This used to be C tier, but ever since Linkstrider and Val can see your teammates' health, this is just D tier. This is not it's not terrible, but you never actually use Resurrection mid-gank because, for one, you could just use Live, but 2, Resurrection has a big wind-up, so by the time you revive your teammate, they're already gonna... by the time you revive your teammate, someone's already gonna be near you. People also kind of forget that if you're using a support build, you're usually running Vow of Mastery, and Vow of Mastery Return can already revive people, and when you revive someone with Return, it also procs Polite Awakening, meaning they heal as well. So I don't really see the point of Resurrection at all. It's kind of useless. You could just use Command Return and heal your friends with Potion Quaffer from health potions, maybe use Sustain, Mark of Jurek, whatever other healing you have. Just Resurrection garbage. I wouldn't really use it. Preservation, same issue, but I put it in like a low C tier, so let's leave it here for now. Actually, I'll put it here. It's kind of like same problem, but it's better because you can actually teleport with your teammates using Preservation. So if you use Linkstrider's little teleport at the campfire, you can quickly teleport your teammates out. Basically the poor man version of teleportation. Other than that, it sucks. I wouldn't use Preservation over the other builds I listed. Then we have Portals. Portals used to be really good, but it's been getting a lot of nerfs. You cannot throw bombs in it anymore, and some other changes that I forgot. So I'd put portals either in a B tier or C tier. Let's go like B tier, because it's not terrible. It's just mid. Portals is really good. It's like a poor man option if you don't want to farm for any of the other bells, if you don't want corrupted or whatever. I don't know. Let's just do this. I don't know. We'll put it right here. Yeah, portal's pretty decent. You can get away from people. You can also use it in the water, and you can do double your portal tech, meaning you can use your portal twice. It's pretty decent. Good at running away. Now we have Reaper Bell. Reaper Bell, same issue with portals. Like, you don't, well, it's not terrible, but it's not as good as the other options. Like, I would only use Reaper Bell if literally nobody else in your team is using it. That's the only time I would use it. Because if your teammates really want health, they should be using Reaper Bell anyways. And usually there's always like one person that uses Reaper Bell. And I don't know, it's just decent. It's not the best because a good support build gets more value out of Sacred Field, Run It Back, Kamui, way more than the average PvP build. So you should be using one of these 4 bells because a support build gets way more value compared to just running Reaper Bell or portals. It just gets more value. They're not terrible options, it just doesn't give you the same value. With a support build, of course. Then we have Blessed Gems, what to put. I mean, you'll figure it all out on your own, but Sustain, Blessed Gems, kind of like the gist of what you want to do. I mean, you could do like Leech, what's it called? You could do like Leech Bloodless if you wanted, or you could do, or Wind Gem. I don't know, like, you guys will figure it all out. Like, the gems aren't too important. Like, these 2 are kind of like the most important. Other than that, it doesn't matter too much. Yeah, I mean, yeah, sorry. Best races. It's usually just going to be Capra, Felinor, or Kaynor. Kaynor can do some really interesting tech with ice. Actually, I would put ice into B tier. I'm gonna change that because if you do use Shadow Prism and you've got like a really interesting build with Shadow Prism and all of like Kaynor's talents where they do not damage their teammates, you can kind of just do such little damage to your teammates where you will actually do 0 damage to your teammates and you'll just be damaging the enemy, getting a bunch of health. So I mean, Frostjaw in that sense would be B tier, but most y'all aren't going to be doing that, so I'll just leave it in C tier. But that's something interesting you can do if you want with Kaynor. Kaynor is pretty cool. You can do a lot of interesting tech like that. And there's probably more in the future that I would like for people to find, but it would be pretty cool. I mean, Capra's pretty... Anyways, let's talk about Capra. That's pretty obvious. I mean, you can heal your teammates using like All Return, Rampart, blah blah blah. Use Mark of Jurek. You can heal like 2 people for a lot of health. I think it's like 20. It's like 20 to 30% healing or something. I don't remember, but it's pretty good. It's gonna get nerfed eventually though. By the time this video comes out, maybe it's probably gonna get nerfed, but it's still gonna be worth it. Hopefully, I don't know. I think you have Felinor. I mean, Felinor is pretty obvious for mobility. Next, another common question is, what enchant do I use usually? The enchant really doesn't matter like at all. You're not going to be fighting at all anyways, so which is why I recommend Hero Blade or just using no weapon. So doesn't matter too much. I mean, there is some interesting tech. You could do like Legion Kata crit with Tears of Eden Kite, and that'll do a lot of damage because Tears of Eden Kite is actually true damage. So and that's something a support should be utilizing a lot, is if you're not using any weapon, support builds should have a lot of true damage, and we're going to talk about that later on. Yeah, support builds do damage no matter if you have a weapon or not, don't worry. Now let's talk about some basic tech. I mean, we're just talking about Leech tech. If you didn't know, Linkstrider actually does proc a lot of talents. Leech in particular procs Aggressive Posture, Air Pressure, Firmly Planted, Anxious Guard, Hard Read, and all of these combined make a super Leech. You can look these up, whatever these talents do, if you're interested, but point is, they're all really good with Leech. Oh yeah, another thing with Linkstrider people don't know is your tethers actually buff your teammates. If you didn't know, Linkstrider's tethers also give buffs, being 25% damage resistance, 5% attack buff, speed demon, so technically, yeah, so another 30% damage, you move faster, and it's actually vice versa for the enemies. What do I mean by this? Well, you know how you have a red and blue tether? Your blue tether is doing all of this, and your red tether is doing the opposite to the enemy, meaning they're taking 20% more damage, they're dealing 5% less damage, and they're moving slower. This is quite unknown. And kind of sad because Linkstrider is really good because of, really good because of this, which is why all the gods never will completely counter Linkstrider, is because you're having these tether buffs by default. And keep in mind, these do kind of sound small, but this is doing 20% more damage. They're taking 20% more damage. And then you have to remember, your teammate has all these damage multipliers. So this 20% more damage really stacks up and gets very crazy. And then don't forget about Speed Demon. But very powerful. You should be, don't feel ever useless if you cannot heal. Your tethers are very strong. You should always have your tethers active. Now another thing, let's talk more about that. How do you actually play Linkstrider? Let's talk about this very briefly, and then we'll get into build making more. Track starting and supporting are your two biggest things. You should be very mobile, and you should be very good at healing. Your support, mid-max of support playstyle. You should be distracting people while you're supporting your friends. That's kind of your goal, really. So if anyone's attacking you, that's kind of good because they're being useless. Now let's put this into more perspective. Here we have a drawing. We have this guy on the left supporting his teammate while distracting these two idiots. This is a bad example because look, you have a whole support build, but what's the point if you're not helping your teammate with your support build? You see what I mean? It's kind of useless. But here it doesn't matter because you're distracting the two people, and your teammate is getting this very, very unfair 1v1. If you're looking on the screen right now, this is very unfair. One mistake with the drawing is that you should be putting your red tether on whoever your teammate is fighting, because they take 20% more damage. So it should be looking like this. This is how it should look like usually in a gank. You see I'm giving a 20% remember all these negatives I'm giving to the enemy, and then remember all these buffs I'm giving to my friend. And keep in mind, this is just Linkstrider. We're forgetting stuff about like all fight and all the other buffs we can apply with like mantras and stuff like taunt, etc. Like, you got what I mean? Like, we can really amplify someone's damage. Now let's talk about how to make a build, because I know a lot of you don't really understand how Shrine of Order exactly works. So we're going to open these two links up. We're going to open up Deepwoken Build Maker, and we're going to open up Talents. So like I said, with everything we learned, we're going to be making a good build. So for my race, I'm going to do Capra, your Oath, Linkstrider, Murmur, Rhythm, Bell. Just pick whatever bell you want. For my example, I'll just do Run It Back. Origin. The origin doesn't matter. I mean, I'm just going to do Lone Warrior. Doesn't matter. I mean, preferably you should go Deepbound or Voidwalker, but I'm just going to do Lone Warrior. For outfit armor, I didn't speak about this, but we're actually going to use Ferryman's Coat because you're constantly track starring around. The only times you're ever hit are just from mantras. And Ferryman's Coat is the best at anti-mantra stuff, because there's not only do you just have high anti-mantra resistance in general, but you also have a chance of converting any mantra damage into lightning damage, and well, you already have high resistance to lightning damage. So Ferryman's Coat is the most optimal in terms of support usually. So when you're making this build, there's a lot of things you want to consider. If you're running attunements, you would want to do attunements pre-shrine for support. Well, it depends. I mean, if you're doing utility support, you want to do a lot of these pre-shrine. So like for my build, I would do like 55 Gale. Actually, no, I do 50, 60 Thunder, and I do 60 Frost Draw. Followed up with 40 Agility, and then I'll have all of these at just 1. So let me explain what I'm doing. So how Shrine of Order works is you basically take it divides all your stats. Shrine of Order, what it does in game, it divides all your stats evenly into what you spent. So I put 1 point into intelligence, I put 1 point into charisma, I put 1 into fortitude. Do not worry about racial stats. It does not interfere as long as you don't put any points into it. So if I Shrine of Order, nothing will be put into willpower. But let me explain this more clearly for people who aren't following. All Shrine of Order does, divide your stats into whatever point you invested into. So if I put 1 point into fortitude, and if I put nothing into strength, and if I Shrine of Order at this point in the game, notice how nothing goes into strength, but it goes into fortitude. That's kind of how Shrine of Order works. And now let's talk about how to make a good build. Let's make my build. So when you're making your build, you want to consider what stats you're getting. Like, why am I doing 60 Thunder? Why am I doing 60 Frost Draw? Why am I doing 50 Gale? And it was because the reasons I listed earlier in that slide maybe will help you, maybe like specific talents. So for Thunder Call, I have 60 Thunder and 40 agility. So some talents I can get are like static clone. Sorry, you need the mantra. Yeah, there's some talents that you need the mantra first. So we're static clone. Static flash clone, that's what it's called this whole time? Oh my gosh. But yeah, see how I got that I have the stat because I have the requirements. And if you want to learn about the requirements more easily, you can kind of just pull up the wiki. You can press Control F on your keyboard. You can kind of just type the requirements of just whatever. So let's say you have like 60 thunder in your build. I can type 60 thunder here, and it'll list me all the talents I can get. So like, oh cool, Grand Skewer, I can get that. I can press this arrow. Oh cool, I can get Stormlink. Oh cool, I can get whatever these are. Like, you get what I mean. You can get this, like, it's an easy way of learning what you can get at this point in the game. That's kind of how Shrine of Order works. So you want to invest like a lot of points pre-shrine, and then it divides it all out. So the reason I'm doing a Tumen's pre-shrine are because I don't really care about their damage. I care about more of their utility. Now some support builds may want more damage, so you would want to do a Tumen's post-shrine. But because I'm focused on more utility and stuns rather than damage, I would do the Tumen's pre-shrine. And then like getting more passives, I'm getting ghosts and stuff, Conditional Runner, Ghost, perfect. Now I'm gonna Shrine of Order, and now all my points are divided into when I invested. So now I can get 80 Charisma for all the Val commands and Core and a level 5 Sing. Now I can invest into Intelligence for however much I want. Preferably you want to try to get at least 85 int. This is where you can get Overload, or I forgot what it's called. It's an adept talent. And then you can invest the rest into whatever. Maybe you could do like 100 int if you really wanted, and cool. Now you do a lot of damage with bombs and stuff. And this is a pretty like simple build. In this build, similar. Oh, sorry. Remember what I mentioned earlier with Iron Sing? We can put 1 point into Iron Sing. This won't actually cost anything. And now with that one single point, I can get Rampart. Boom, Rampart. That's all we need Iron Sing for. That's it. Actually, no, that's not it. Now let's go to my build. This is my build. I'll be listing this in the comments on how to progress this. Hopefully I don't mess up when, I don't know, hopefully I don't mess something up. This is my build, basically the one I just showed you, but we are getting Exoskeleton Ghost, Conditional Runner, 90 int, because I want more points. Wait. Yeah, because because I want to invest 10 into Fortitude for Exoskeleton, 80 Charisma because I get all my Vow talents and Core, blah blah blah, and I get level 5 Sing and Taunt. Then all my Tumen's pre-shrine, Iron Sing. It's beautiful, perfect. And I'll be linking this in the description for anyone who's interested in playing the support build. I already had a bunch of people play it. The reason I didn't upload my support build sooner is because support builds do change a lot, and they absolutely suck to progress. In my opinion, support builds are the hardest builds to progress because they have the worst progression with the highest amount of RNG. Like, these are all the talents you are required in the build. You need all of these, except Return of Dark Ages. That's like optional, but you should probably take it. But all these are required for the build. Every little talent has a reason, and then there are actually required items in this build that are listed. So, for those daring to prog this, I will put like a whole progression guide in the description, and I'll actually be progging this build soon when Conquest drops, unless like some major changes happen. So until then, here's my build for anyone who wants to actually play it. It's gonna absolutely suck to prog. You can change the belt to whatever you want. You don't have to run it back. If you do want to play my build, I would first watch my advanced combat guide so you get a bit of a gist on how to play a bit of it. Instead of the Duke mantra though, if you do watch that guide, instead of the Duke mantra, I would just use Grand Skewer. But yeah, this link shows all the talents required, has all the mantras, and I'll be posting this in the description with like a big progression guide to hopefully limit your RNG. Now, hope you have fun. I hope this video wasn't too long. Oh, it's like, how long was this video? Oh shit.